I'm going to pull you off screen for a minute.
Okay.
Hello, hello, everybody. Can everybody hear me? Oh, my lovelies, can you hear me? Okay, my audio, my audio is good. There we go. What is happening? Hey, Charles. So, what is happening is I am doing my best law talk with Mike impression and running a few minutes late because I want to be like him when I grow up. That's what's happening. I'm just saying, that's what's happening. So while I finish a few things up, we're going to do some housekeeping things, and then I will appear on camera, and then I'm going to rant because I have thoughts and things to say, and yeah, hold on one second. Okay. Ah, I love Law Talk with Mike Charles. It's how I found John. I've been a long time Law Talk with Mike subscriber. I like him. I just think it's fun. Um, and I just think it's funny. Hey, Ann. I'll see you in a little bit. Kev chat. Hope you're well. Kev, you're right. Nobody's wrench should have disappeared. I will go look on the back end and see what I need to do. So, if you have a law talk, not law talk, if you have a wrench and you have an issue with your wrench, just somebody let me know. Or let Croco know, because Croco, my tech squirrel, can fix things too. But I gotta be like law talk with Mike occasionally and run a few minutes late. But we can do housekeeping not on screen, and then we can go on screen because I'm irritated. So, first things first, and we're going to get this out of the way. This ranty stream, there's going to be cursive words. Lots and lots of cursive words. Kev chat, things are working out. You will get to see me on screen shortly. I'm just a slacker right now because I'm grumpy. I'm very grumpy. I will apologize for that one. Sorry, not sorry, whatever you'd like to say today. But housekeeping wise, John will be here in a little bit. John will be here in a few minutes to pop in. And what were the other ones? Tech will be back in a few. I'm just trying to remember what my other rant about things I need to do off camera before I subject myself and subject the world to my on camera. On camera, I hate everybody mood. Although I don't hate everybody, I like you guys. I don't know where my lip gloss went, but I need lip gloss because it's better than chapstick. I am a hot mess today. Just so everybody knows, I am fully aware of this. I am fully aware that we are in hot mess mode today. So there's going to be lots of ranting. I am covering things this morning that are not as lighthearted as I generally do. Although I do cover Thomas, it will be televised very shortly, if you mean me. I just have to make myself slightly more presentable for the world right now because it's been a long couple days. So with that aside, I was saying we are covering difficult shit. This is not by any means going. I'm not getting graphic this time. I'm answering questions, and I am here to try to bring some level of, I can't even say common sense because most of this, there's zero common sense involved, right? None. But I will try to be delicate. I'm telling you right now, and this is your fair warning. If you feel like being a snowflake, and I usually am try to be very respectful with how I handle things. If you're going to try to be a snowflake and tell me that laughing and the kind of gallows humor and the whole, but it's sad, we can't say a word about it, is not going to fly today. I don't care. I have thoughts. This is the channel. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And if somebody doesn't like it, this isn't an airport. You don't need to announce your departure. You can depart. I am usually not this mean. I mean, like we all know I get irritated and ranty, but I am usually not this heated. But I'm heated today. So this is your fair warning. You don't want heated. You don't want to listen to me bitch about the things that are going on in the world that people keep asking me about. That's cool. You don't have to be here. I am doing a lighter, more normal Loki stream tonight, and most of my guests will be back for that one too. But you have been duly warned. So the first person to tell me I'm being mean, I will warn you, you probably will not get one of the most sympathetic responses known to man right now. So we all on the same page? Okay. I'll be presentable somewhat in 2 seconds. So chat, do we have any specific questions? Do me a favor to the 17 of you that are here. If you have any questions about current events, because that's what the rantiness is going to involve, do me a favor and put them in the chat so they can be starred so that I can see them. Hold on. We are going to hey, John.
Hello, how are you?
Good. So I'm going to add John for 2 seconds, and you can stare at his lovely face, and he can tell you all the amazing things he has planned and coming on his channel while I find my lip gloss.
That's a lot to put on me right now because I don't actually have anything particular. I know I've gotten a lot of requests for different cases across the country. Um, I I've decided I don't want to do the suitcase murder, so you can know that. It's not legally interesting. It's just salacious, and it's just not my style. There is a case out of Utah that somebody told me about that might be kind of interesting. Um, so I'm going to look into
Which
that
one?
one. Uh, you put me on the spot, so
No, which Utah case? That's just
uh,
general topic. You don't have to need the actual name.
no, I just don't know the name of it off the top of my head.
Oh, okay. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. But that was recommended, and I might look into that one. Um, in terms of educational content, I actually do want to do Terry v. Ohio and Pennsylvania versus MIMS. So that would be on the more educational side, which actually does not do that great, which is a little disappointing, but that's okay. I still enjoy doing it.
Which
So
is the
that'll probably be
PA
the
one?
next educational topic.
Which PA one?
Pennsylvania versus MIMS. That is the Supreme Court case that gives the officer during a traffic stop the ability to order you in or out of your vehicle for officer safety.
Okay. I didn't know if it was the Supreme Court one that you and I were discussing about firearms legalities.
No, that's a different one. Now it's an old school case, but I think it's interesting because you have so many sovereign citizens saying, "Well, if I didn't commit a crime, you can't tell me to get out of your car." Yes, yes, they can, and that is what that Supreme Court case stands for. So I want to kind of do Terry plus that one, probably in the same stream, which I think will be interesting. Because, yes, an officer can order you out of your vehicle. That's just the reality of the circumstance. There's another case, I think, out of Maryland, where the passengers can be ordered out too. I have to find that one. I might try to do all three of those as kind of like a one-off thing for all sovereigns that think that there's not actually legal precedent for what the cops are telling you to do.
I can confirm we will remove you from the vehicle if you don't comply.
Fair enough.
I have told, no, I'm just saying, I have told people that before, and it's easier to get out yourself than me drag you out through a window.
Yeah, smashing a window in is not usually in the best interest of the owner of the vehicle.
No, but I love when people are like, you can't make me get out. I
Oh,
can
yes,
and
we
I
can.
will. If it's for my safety, I can and I will.
So I kind of want to do all three of those in one shot. So that might be kind of fun. Like I said, the educational stuff, it's disappointing. It just doesn't do very well. But that's okay. I still enjoy doing it, and I think that it's a public service to some extent. So that's fine. I mean, I thought that the Gideon v. Wainwright with that video from the 14th Circuit was really cool, getting the background story, but it's one of my worst performing videos, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Which one is that one?
That was the case where a guy was arrested and convicted for allegedly burglarizing a pool hall.
Okay.
And he was convicted in Florida, gave handwritten notes, which I had copies of that I showed to Florida Supreme Court. They still said no, so he went to the U.S. Supreme Court, and the U.S. Supreme Court, in a unanimous decision, said, "You know what? Yeah, you have a right to an attorney if the state's going to try and lock you up forever."
Yeah.
So it was a really cool case, and the background information I thought was really neat. I thought it was a really good video, but it did not do particularly well.
I think some of that comes from you getting your start, I guess, if you'd like to say,
Yeah,
with what's it called? You getting your start. Where did the thing go?
hello.
Hey, hold on 1 second.
Okay, Texas Beast, I've answered this multiple times to you. No, the government does not have to give you a free gun. There's a difference between balancing the playing field, which is what the Sixth Amendment argument and the right to counsel under Gideon is talking about. It is about balancing the playing field. That doesn't mean that the government needs to go buy you a gun or give you a megaphone or buy you an iPhone. Those are fundamentally different questions. What the government is recognizing is because the government is bringing almighty force to bear upon you to potentially take away your property, life, or liberty, then we need to balance the playing field to some extent. So it's not actually a comparable consideration. That's the difference. There was. I want to say New Hampshire, but I think I might be wrong about that. But the issue at the end of the day, again, is that having an attorney when the state is bringing to bear all of its force is different from many other rights. So, like you said when you were on my stream, the Third Amendment, they can't occupy your home. That doesn't mean that the government has to give you a home. That's a ridiculous reading of that argument. And by the way, not for nothing, I don't necessarily agree with the Warren Court in a lot of the ways that they found these sort of positive rights in the Constitution. But as just a fundamental aspect of fairness and ordered liberty, if the government is going to bring all of its resources to bear to try and take away your property, liberty, or life, then you should, even if you're poor, have a sporting chance to fight back. And that is by being provided an attorney. And I think it was Scalia that said you're not entitled to the best attorney in the world. You're entitled to an attorney to at least have a shot. And I don't have a problem.
Can we change the law that you're entitled to Daryl Brooks as your attorney in certain circumstances? What? It's a valid question. Answer me. I'll give you an eternity. If you're soft sit, you get Daryl.
He's not a licensed attorney. He's not allowed to represent other people.
Fine, then go find Chili.
Doesn't you can always represent yourself. It's a terrible decision, but you can always do that.
But doesn't Chili hold himself out to be one?
Yeah, well, that's unlicensed practice of law, and he probably should be in prison for that. But that's neither here nor there.
I'm just saying. I mean, you can use that.
It's an idea.
Hold on.
How about we have Daryl Brooks hire whoever the prison attorney that gave him the soft sit nonsense, and then watch that go down.
TB, you may announce your arrival. Okay, let's see where we are. Let me check on this real quick. Hey, Divinity. Sim. Here, draw mountains for you.
You got to try. I think she loses, but so I did first person insurance. So that was representing the insurance company against the insured or allegedly insured. I guarantee you that because she was found guilty of the defamation, even under the defamation per se, insurance does not cover willful acts. That is literally by law not allowed in an insurance contract because we do not want to insure against willful harm to others. So the insurance company, I think, absolutely wins that every day of the week.
Okay. There we go.
Because her statements were willfully malicious. So yeah, no. The insurance company had every right in the world to disclaim.
Okay. Me on camera. I'll look even more like me later. But it's been a long morning. So here's the deal. Where do we want to start, guys? I have seen questions on Twitter with people asking me about this Idaho thing, Idaho, Illinois, that the police screwed up investigations of the 4 students that are missing or that were murdered. I have gotten requests for that. And how badly, because they're saying that the crime scene in the case has already been botched. I am getting requests for dealing with the second moron who decided to drive through something. Because that worked out so well in the first place for Mr. Brooks. Let's have a repeat. I have questions about the mom in Georgia. Which, no, Georgia's not a capital state. So, as much as I would love it to be, it's not. We have that one. Let me look at the list of other rage bait. I did get asked questions.
May I ask you to pause for 1 second so I answer Texas Beast because he's making arguments that just aren't true.
Sure.
So you're saying that it seems inconsistent from the court. If you actually read the Sixth Amendment, it is one of the only ones that actually does provide something to the citizenry. It literally states in all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy, etc., and have the assistance of counsel for his defense. So it is worded fundamentally differently from the other amendments. The Constitution does, in fact, grant that somebody shall enjoy the right to have counsel for their defense. So the court determined that to be that if you cannot afford it in a criminal prosecution, the state will provide it for you. That is entirely consistent with the Sixth Amendment, and I recommend you read it. I'm sorry, but I've been going back and forth with him since last night, and I want to put this one to bed.
Nick, unfortunately, the link actually was meant for John, so I was going to warn you that. But you two are right next to each other in my DMs on that screen. So don't worry about that. I told you, it's been a struggle bus today. Struggle bus.
So I appreciate you letting me cut in real quick.
No, you're good. You're good. Okay. So what, guys, what stupid do we want to cover first? Because I'm just angry. And I'm going to take votes because the amount of DMs I have gotten. Although, John, I would like to point one thing out, and I'm sure it'll change after I say this publicly. even being on your channel, Boozy still hasn't blocked me.
That is strange.
That's what I said. I'm kind of feeling left out here. Because
Yeah,
like
I know.
90% of people that have never engaged are blocked. Nope. No. He still shows up at the top of my feed constantly.
Well, some of the LawTube folks, we have kind of a background stream where we're archiving all of his bullshit.
Yeah, I know. Remember, I'm on it.
Yeah. So I'm shocked that he never blocked you. I don't know why he blocked me because I literally hadn't used Twitter in like 6 months prior to anything, and he blocked me. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I just,
Apparently, Bot Sentinel's not that smart a learning program.
I guess, I don't know. But I'm not blocked because I woke up to like my Twitter feed full of boozy stupid. And I was like, how am I not blocked yet?
I for one, am actually shocked that he is going to be featured in some regard in this stupid Netflix documentary on Meghan Markle, which is just mind-blowingly dumb. So if anyone wants to cancel your Netflix subscription, I wouldn't blame you. Because they're apparently cutting this idiot a check.
No. Don't do that. Because
I
if you
did.
do, no, because then how's he gonna have the money to pay Nate?
Fair point.
Yeah,
he seems to be pretty decent at hiding money when he, files all of these false bankruptcies.
No, he's not. He just thinks he is.
Well,
This was a few minutes ago.
I can't stand this dude.
Either can I. I feel left out.
Like, to some extent, I can respect the grift, but he is the worst type of it because he provides absolutely nothing to society. But he pretends that he does. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it.
I just think it's funny. Like, I just...
It's funny until it's not. That's kind of where I'm at on this one. It's like, it's funny until he actually thinks and to some extent is effective running a platform like that, which is absolute BS, and everyone knows it is. And it actually does hurt people that are doing genuine content work. That's when it stops being funny to me.
See but see, Patty, I'm like, out of everybody. No, I literally read part of the complaint for John on air.
Yep.
I'm starting to feel left out. That'll probably change now that I put him up on screen. But I was just like, okay, cool.
No, at some point that's just a badge of honor.
Yeah, I know. Why not? Okay, so I've seen a whole bunch for Idaho. Is that where we're going? Is that what we're going to do first? Okay.
Again, I don't know the case, so I'm coming in this fresh.
That's fine. I haven't done a ton of back research because, like I said to you, I don't do a ton of research on certain things and topics because I don't like coloring my evidence analysis.
Sure.
And if I go in with too much, it gives me tunnel vision. So, again, guys, there are sensitive topics. I am cranky. There will be cursing. So, we are not going to, there's the door. It's not an airport. Okay?
I'm
Cool.
your guest. As long as you're not upset with how I respond to things, then let's power ahead.
I'll tell you to shut it. You know that.
I know.
I've yeeted people midstream and told them to go away.
Fortunately, I have not been guilty of a sin worthy of that yet, but we might find it.
I'm just saying, I have no problem being like, y'all, what I'm gonna need you to do is go over there.
All right.
So let's go with this stupid. Try to do it this way. Sorry, guys, give me 1 second. Okay, Croco or somebody, you're gonna have to star things for me just because I don't actually. I think I can do it this way. There we go. I can see. I can see most of the chat. So we're gonna read this. Wait, did I pick the wrong? Memorial. Where are we here? Trying to find the first one because I never have any idea.
All right. While you're setting that up,
I'm
Texas, you
ready.
do not have a right to a free lawyer. You have a right to a lawyer. You might still have to pay them. That's not what the Constitution is. You are making shit up, and it's getting annoying to me. Actually know what you're talking about. Michael is 110% right. Listen to him. Sorry,
Okay.
taking me off from the chat.
Okay. Because I'm gonna rant now, and this will take you off just as much. Okay.
Here we go.
So this is one of the first articles that came out. And I have some, like I always have thoughts. I think this one was first. Is it? Or was this one before that? I think they're the same. Um, okay. So, like I said, we're going to read first and then we're going to talk about it because the stupid. So, as the University of Idaho mourns the loss of 4 students killed in an attack at an off campus home last weekend, the community remains in crisis. Where, StreamYards? You're drunk. Over few known details surrounding the students' deaths and lack of an identified subject. The 4 students, Ethan, Kaylee, Xana, and Madison, were found Sunday stabbed to death on the second and third floor of the home in Moscow, Idaho, according to authorities. Key details key details have unfolded, things are unclear as of Friday, even though they've provided updates. Police revealed the 4 victims were likely asleep before the attack began during the early morning and were each stabbed multiple times. The attacks were not reported to authorities until about noon that day. A week after the homicide shook the small college city of 26,000 residents, investigators have not identified a suspect, nor did they find the murder weapon. We're trying to expedite everything that might possibly lead to a suspect, the county prosecutor said. I wish we had more answers, and detectives are asking questions. Hear what we know. How the physical struggle remains unclear. All 4 victims' killings were ruled homicides by stabbing, according to the county coroner. Of the victims, some had defensive wounds, but it's unclear how many of the victims or which victims precisely had defensive wounds. Earlier this week, the father of Xander Knodel revealed his daughter fought off her attacker through the very end. Bruises, torn by a knife, she's a tough kid. When Rabbit arrived at the crime scene, she saw lots of blood. Each victim was stabbed multiple times, likely by the same weapon. They also pointed out they were not tied and gagged. There was no SA. When people arrived after 911 call, the door was open. There was no damage. One of the doors used to access them had a keypad lock. The residence was known to be a party house. They weren't very private with the code. The house also has a sliding door. Along with suspect ID, they've yet to locate the murder weapon. To that end, they're asking for help from local businesses. Here's where we start having problems. Timeline under analysis. Hoping for tips from the community, investigators released a map and timeline. They went to a party. Others were at the sports bar. They went back. They weren't in danger of distress. They used a private party for a ride. They were back by 1:45 Sunday. There were 7 unanswered phone calls from her sister's phone to her former boyfriend based on phone logs. And that wasn't unusual for her. There are 2 surviving roommates that were found uninjured. Everyone's a suspect. 38 interviews have happened. They've taken dumpsters. They were processing 500 tips. There's a vigil. Okay. So, I'm going to stop for that right now. So, there is background on said case. It is awful. It is awful after awful. Okay? Here's the thing. Everybody is saying this has already been botched and mishandled. And there's a little bit more to it, and we will get to that. But what I am going to get into is that story a little bit. But namely, I am going to get into explaining how it works and that we are not watching CSI. Okay? Because that seems to be a lot of the questions I'm getting. And I know with Dara Brooks that and with the one when I was on John's channel, where I tore evidence apart. So that's fine. But this is a different case. There are different aspects. So we are going to discuss how things really work. Okay? Because it's not like on TV. So, here's the deal. Horrible things happen every day. I tell people all the time, it is incredibly offensive if you go up to a paramedic or fireman and say, "What is the worst thing you've ever seen?" I tell people, my demons are mine alone. And I don't generally answer much more than that. What I have seen in 16 years of my career is horrifying. There are people that would never sleep again if you did my job for 16 years before I was out of the field. And people need to understand that. People need to understand, yes, I tell lots of funny stories from my time because there is funny and gallows humor gets you through it. Doesn't mean I find every situation funny. Okay, so that's out of the way. When you have a case like this, we need to look at what we call high risk behavior. When I say high risk behavior, I am not saying it is the victim's fault. Because I said that and someone's like, oh my God, you're victim blaming. No. High risk behavior is something that you're engaged in that means you have a high opportunity to encounter bad. It is not high risk as in, ooh, they do drugs, ooh, they're a hooker. Okay? High risk behavior is a play in this one. It's a party house, which means lots and lots and lots of people have been in that house. You have a digital lock. That is high risk behavior. I can crack those with a phone for the most part. What people don't realize is what we do with police. We can plug something and there's actually a jack if you know where to find it. And you can unlock a lot of those. That's high risk behaviors. They were out at a bar. Yes, they didn't appear in distress, but that doesn't mean someone didn't follow them. There was alcohol involved. There's nothing wrong with drinking. It's still a high risk behavior. You are opening the door by high risk behaviors to bad. Okay? So, no, we are not victim blaming. Got it? Okay. 2, they have 500 tips. You are in a college town. Yes, I fidget with my ring when I'm annoyed. So, yes, you're in a college town. Yes, we want tips. When you have 500, do you have any idea how long that takes to run down? It is a small college town. Even if we call an FBI, ATF, whatever, you cannot go through 500 tips of due diligence in a week. There are things you do not know about this in many cases. Okay? We intentionally keep cards close to the vest. Because what you do in a criminal case like this is you sit there and you decide what is a good idea to hold back. Because there are some things, if I interrogate you, only you would know. And if I put it all out there, everybody knows. And people like to think they're cool and admit to things they didn't do because street cred. And the last thing I need is false confessions, because all it does is then add to my problems and I miss the actual person. So you have that aspect. You also need to understand, and when I say you, it's a general, royal we, whatever you would like. We're not playing telephone. This isn't the game in kindergarten where I tell you and you pass it on. And by the time it makes it to me, it is totally bastardized. And I don't know what's right and what's wrong. So things are being hidden. I understand that the family and people are frustrated. If it was my child, I would be incredibly frustrated too. But you need to have patience to a point. Okay? Where are you going, Kev? What's wrong? Okay, I'm like, I've missed something. I'm not sure why Kev is mad at me. Okay, Kev, I'll talk to you later, I guess. Message me and tell me what you're upset about after if I pissed you off. Um, it is not productive. So, what you don't want, and this goes to one of it could take a long time. The Abby German case just arrested someone 5 years later, which I actually want to cover that case with John because there's some legal things in it. It
Along
took
the path
5.
of Taekwon Leap. That was the joke.
What? Okay.
It's actually a quote from a little skit by the Frantics, the
Okay.
Taekwon Leap.
I have no clue. I don't. I watch The Simpsons.
I'll show you later. It'll be fun.
Okay. So, you need to understand the wheels of justice are slow. I cannot do things on your timeline because it's self-serving. If you screw things up, you can taint an investigation forever and there will never be a trial or someone will get off because of procedural misconduct. You only get one bite at the apple. And when you arrest someone, John, you can tell me if it's state dependent or if it's a statutory across the board. You have a certain amount of time to bring this to trial, a speedy trial.
Yes.
And delay charges.
So once you arrest somebody, I believe, I might be wrong about this. It's been a while since they did crim law, but I believe you have 20 days, but that could be extended based upon extenuating circumstances. So you saw a lot of that getting extended during, say, the COVID era, or, there are other things that are extenuating, but generally speaking, you have 20 days to indict.
I was say, because I know from watching Mike's channel, when Judge Manning talked, like they've been in custody for 385 days with no charges.
Yeah, and if you can demonstrate extenuating circumstances, you can sort of get away with it unless somebody actually invokes the right. So if they don't know to invoke the right, they don't call a lawyer and they just sit around. Unless you invoke the right, that starts the clock once you actually invoke it.
Okay.
The same thing as like the right to silence. Unless you actually invoke the right to silence or the right to an attorney, nobody's giving it to you unless you actually invoke the right. Because you sort of implicitly waive it until you actually invoke it.
Okay. So we may have an idea of who it is, but we are not going to charge somebody just because, right? Because then your back's up against a wall and you do not want to screw this up. Okay?
It's not. It actually is statutory in most jurisdictions. That's why I said 20 days, and I believe that's about the time frame. So if they don't bring an indictment by then, the judge has to let you go. They can still bring an indictment later and go rearrest you, but if you invoke the right and the state doesn't get its shit together, they have to let you go.
Oh, hold on.
And by the way, Texas Beast, fine. I'm glad you blocked me.
Okay.
Don't come back to any more of my streams. I don't need you.
Okay. Guys, let's get through this and say, let me finish this topic and then we can argue things, okay?
Yep.
So I brought John on because things like speedy trial, that's not my world. So charging somebody just because is a bad idea. It's sloppy. Look at that case that I was on with John with Cummings. How much of that was rushed? It wasn't ready to be charged and brought to trial. You had a chance to be able to convict the guy, but you rushed things and you didn't have what you needed as the prosecution. It happened in the Morphew case. If you charge things before you're ready and you have a good defense attorney, they're going to push trial through. So you don't charge until you're ready to lay it out on the table. Okay? Great.
Yes.
That's why we haven't arrested yet. Here's the thing. Everybody dogpiling on this situation is not helping police. And people are calling in false leads. Now, I have not consulted on this case, nor have I been legally attached to it in any way. So this is, speculation and all of my stuff. They may think they know who it is.
Yes, watching you daily, that's the correct time frame in Florida. I was thinking New York, which I think is 20, but yes.
Well, I know Alex Manning has people that have been sitting there for like 384 days without indictment. All the time.
Yeah, this is probably being licensed in 2 jurisdictions, as they all have different time frames, and sometimes you get the wires crossed.
No, but I'm just saying, like when you're watching Judge Manning, she's like, "Okay, your client's been held for 384 days." Wow, I
if
would
you never invoke it, the clock doesn't start. That's just the way that it works.
You know what I mean?
No, I know. And Judge Alex Manning's court, a lot of those are indigent people that probably don't know enough to have a lawyer, and so they'll just sit there.
But
plus that's Fulton County, which they are so freaking far behind. It's not even a joke.
Stay out of Fulton County and stay away from their Chick-fil-A.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. I love me some Chick-fil-A. I should have ordered Chick-fil-A for lunch. Now I want Chick-fil-A. Thank you, Judge Alex Manning. Now I want Chick-fil-A. So
yeah, Michael's right.
Plenty of people, like you need to understand that, right, guys? There are many circumstances that lead to us not charging immediately and not giving out all the information. Yes, there is blood on the outside of the house. I'm not going to put it up. It is not cute to see. If you look at pictures, you'll find it. There is blood dripping out around the foundation because it's built on a concrete slab, and there was enough pooling inside that it has seeped through the concrete and run down the outside of the house in places.
Cyclewood, that is actually a really intelligent point, and you do see that in terms of jail populations based upon the weather circumstances.
And don't you also get better time for credit like credit for time if you're being held pre-trial in
If you're
some
being held
states.
pre-trial, depending upon your state, sometimes they'll give you time and a half as long as you're under good behavior.
Right. So there are strategic reasons, but
Now,
you
in some
know,
places you can get double time as well.
right.
That
So
might be true in other jurisdictions. I'm just talking about the ones that I'm familiar with.
I'm just saying. So some people will, you know, take that, you know, aspect. They very well may have a suspect. Where I take a little bit of issue, and I think what some of the people are having issue with, is 4 innocent lives were taken and 2 survived. They very well may know who did it or have a suspect based off of those 2 roommate statements. But they sure as shit are not going to tip their hand. If I tell you I have a suspect and you're the suspect, you're going to go destroy evidence.
Yeah, you're going underground.
Speaking of underground, the individual in question apparently started off the top floor and then went up the 2 floors to get the 4 people that died. The 2 survivors were in the basement, and apparently there was no evidence it had even gone down there.
They may not have known they were there. They may have known they were there. It doesn't matter.
Looks like they went in through a sliding glass door that hadn't had a stick put in it.
It doesn't matter. None of it matters. It doesn't matter why they didn't kill the 2 people. It doesn't matter if they knew they were there.
Nope.
None of it matters. And everybody is
utterly irrelevant.
Yeah. You know.
Just some background information.
Yeah, I'm just
interesting, but yeah.
Okay. But let me finish. It doesn't matter. It's not relevant unless they think one of those 2 people is a suspect or knows something. Or the suspect is connected to them in some way. So it's incredibly frustrating for the family. Yes. They want answers. We know. We want to give you answers. But what we're not going to do is taint a case just so you have closure in a month. You want to do this once. You don't want it going up on appeal. You get one bite at the apple. Stop. And people calling in fake tips is not helpful. We have to run down every stupid ass tip that comes in. It takes time. Everyone's like, oh, it must have been the ex. She called all the time. You know, she pissed him off. Again, she is known when she's mad, as I'm sure many of the gentlemen in my chat can tell you. When some female's mad at you, she's probably going to blow your phone up even if you don't answer. Until you're annoyed enough to answer. Especially if she's white girl wasted. And it doesn't just go. So that's not valid. We're not going off of that. Here's the other thing. They did not, or at the time of the article's publication, they have not announced if they have a search warrant for the records. And this is another reason I wanted John here for this. There is something known as fruit from the poisonous tree. They have the phone records because they, as the family, got them. We cannot always use what you, as the family, got or brought to us. It doesn't meet evidentiary rules in certain circumstances.
Yes.
So, fruit from the poisonous tree. So, like, if I know my sister's passwords, which I do, and printed out her phone records, and we're like, here, police, there can be evidentiary issues. Because the defense is, if it's not my
Not
account,
necessarily.
but if it's not my account, my name's not on the account, and I knew a password and didn't have authorization to log in.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. So this is actually an interesting point that you're bringing up. It is the government that has to do something inappropriate. If, say, it's your sister that logs into your account and pulls that paperwork and just hands it over to the police, they were not involved in any of the inappropriate actions.
Right, and I know the
So they
police
can,
weren't.
that's not fruit of the poisonous tree.
But what I am saying is any defense attorney is going to argue chain of custody. Anything they find from this, if there's issues with chain of custody, someone forgot a page, can be argued.
Yes, and that would be an absolutely appropriate objection. But here's where that gets a little bit interesting, because you can drop a packet of papers off at the police department that you stole from a computer or whatever. They can still use that in their investigation to potentially get a warrant and then go retrieve the material independently.
Right.
So in that regard, it does actually advance an investigation.
Well, that one may with the phone records, but there might be other things that the family has turned over or that law enforcement is privy to, that because they don't have a physical warrant for it, if they have their car and they don't have a warrant to search or consent for a suspicious car, they have to get a warrant before they open the car.
But so what I'm saying is, if they have an independent means of verifying that the material that they receive is accurate, they don't necessarily need the chain of custody. So, for instance, if, let's say, it's a financial crime and somebody anonymously drops off a package of bank records, right? And they didn't have a warrant for that because they weren't sure, and they look at it and like, oh, this is suspicious. This might actually be a financial crime. And they call up the bank, and the bank verifies that those records are accurate. Then we're done. We don't need a warrant.
Right, but I didn't mean just the phone records. Like, they could have a car that they want to search, but they don't have a warrant for it yet.
Sure.
Is what I'm saying. They may have evidence that has not got, that they don't have a warrant for it yet, so it hasn't been processed.
No, but my point at the end of the day, and the car example is a little bit different, but because the car is considered part of your domicile for legal purposes, so it's a little bit different under the Fourth Amendment. But what I'm saying is that you don't necessarily need a warrant for every piece of evidence that the state gets.
Right.
There are other means of verifying the validity of pieces of evidence that might just show up on your doorstep.
I just picked the phone records as one of the random.
No, the phone records is a really good example of this. If you're talking about trying to search a vehicle, then yeah, you probably need a warrant for that. But somebody can drop off a pack of papers that suggests that the vehicle has incriminating evidence, and a judge will sign a warrant like that.
And I know, but I'm just saying there are things that they may be in possession of, but they can't. Let's say that packet of papers or phone records the family gave them is suspicious because they see the same two numbers. Mm-hmm. Well, they may have to get a warrant to go to the phone carrier to get the records between those two numbers. If they don't know who they belong to.
Or the phone carrier might offer it over voluntarily. A number of them do.
Some do, some don't. But I'm just saying, there are things that while we may have them,
we can't use them. Yes.
You can't use them, and you don't want it to become fruit from the poisonous tree. Okay, I see on her phone these two numbers were called 800 times, but I don't know who those numbers belong to, and I need to
But that's
get.
where, okay, so that's where I'm trying to explain. It's not a poisonous tree unless the state does something wrong. If they haven't, then there's no poisonous tree. So if they get the packet of papers randomly, they did not solicit them, they did not do anything to coerce them being handed over, they just happen to have them, that is not a poisonous tree.
That's not what I said.
Okay, then I'm trying to understand your argument.
What I'm saying is the phone records turned over by family, not poisonous tree.
Okay.
But if I see the same, that she always calls these two phone numbers, and I need to know, I figure out, okay, this phone number is this person. This phone number is this person. I want to see their communications with each other to see if it's a conspiracy.
Okay.
And the carrier's not willing to give it to me.
Okay.
You may have to get a warrant for communication between those two numbers that are not in that packet.
Sure.
Because things that you would get from between those two numbers, not necessarily her records with the numbers, but
Okay.
between two third parties, can take a time to get a warrant.
Okay.
Does that make, now do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you can do that in literally like 45 seconds.
Whatever. I mean, like, there are other pieces of evidence.
But no, that's why I wasn't totally understanding your argument, because I don't see where the poison is in this chain of evidence or chain of investigation.
I'm just picking a random piece of evidence.
No, I got it. I'm trying to understand it myself.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's evidence they may have that they can't use yet, because they know if they use the evidence, anything they find will be from the poisonous tree, depending on what the evidence is.
But that's where, like, you keep going back to that. I don't understand where the initiation of the poison is, because poisonous tree
may have
requires that the state do something inappropriate under the Fourth Amendment in the first instance. And I just don't see that in your hypothetical.
I'm just saying there could be a hypothetical random piece of evidence, something that one of the roommates from the basement had.
Okay.
That they're like, no, you can't search it. And they want to go look. That's what I'm saying. It's not necessarily for, like, everyone's like, oh, they have this and this, so they should be able to do everything.
If one of the roommates in the basement said you can't look there, and they looked anyway, and then they started using that to build it, then yeah, that is fruit of the poisonous tree.
But that's what I'm saying.
It's that first instant action that causes the poison to enter into the chain of evidence.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. When they're like, but there's no evidence. There may be, you just don't know because you're waiting. Like something belonging to, why didn't they get this from a roommate? They may be waiting because whatever they think the roommate has, they don't have grounds to get. And they don't want to risk it.
Okay.
Who knows? Okay. But I'm just saying, like, everyone's like, oh, they could have all this evidence. You don't know that. You don't know that they don't have the evidence. They're just waiting on warrants.
That's entirely possible.
You don't know if they've mucked up all the existing evidence. Still not. That's still a possibility.
That's possible too.
Okay, Nick. What I'm saying is, if you get something illegally without a search warrant, or you violate the person who it belongs to's rights, anything they find from the illegal search and seizure, you can't use.
Generally speaking, yes. Once the state transgresses the Fourth Amendment and obtains a piece of evidence inappropriately, and let's say that piece of evidence leads them to other evidence and other materials, everything is tainted on that chain.
That's
and none of it can be used. But the issue that I keep coming back to is I don't see in this circumstance where there was that initial breach. That's where I'm not sure.
It's not. It
But
was
that's the
just
basic
rant.
concept.
Yeah, it was more of like there is such a thing with evidence and rules of evidence, not specifically me saying it's just the phone records, because everyone's like, well, they have this. Okay, they may have other things that they can't use yet. You won't have to wait.
Yeah.
Serology.
Kendra, 45 seconds. Literally, you can text it to a judge and they will email you a warrant.
It depends.
Well, it depends on your jurisdiction, but most times, certainly within maybe 15, 20 minutes.
It can depend heavily.
And who you have to wake up, and whether or not they were busy doing something interesting at the time.
Unless it was Mike, and Mike was on a naughty adventure. But what I am saying, guys, is sometimes you need a warrant. Okay? Yep. So they may have things that they can't use yet. They may know more, but they don't want to tip their hand and you go destroy things. Calling them out a week after this happened is not helping.
No, not particularly.
They want to catch the people just as much as anyone else. Trust me, investigations are a lot of time and a giant pain to deal with. The fact that the school is saying we don't have a suspect, and I've seen one of the issues that they didn't bring dogs out soon enough. I have seen comments that 2 days later they put up crime scene tape. Why didn't they do it initially? You don't know. And there are a lot of things you are not going to know until there's an indictment or until it goes to trial. They're not, the defense may have it.
Warrants are given out like candy in most jurisdictions.
In most jurisdictions, and depending on what it's for.
Yeah. I mean, if you're talking about a homicide, there's not a judge on earth that's not going to sign a warrant. I think warrants granted in this country are something like 97 point some odd %.
Yikes.
I have also been in the position where I waited 4 days for a warrant.
Okay, well.
I'm just saying.
Again, it depends on your jurisdiction, but I'm telling you, it is somewhere in the 97% range of granted warrants as opposed to.
I didn't say it wasn't granted. It just took 4 days.
Yeah.
Weeks a lot of time for the crime scene to be altered. Michael, it might not be altered. I mean, this isn't Cummings. You don't know. You haven't.
I think in most departments, virtually any detective can directly contact the court to request a warrant.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you need to go up the chain of command all that much.
Or at all, depending on where you're at.
It also depends on your ADA and your DA's office.
Yeah. And again, we're talking about a homicide case. I don't think that if they decided to call the judge at 2 a.m, the judge wouldn't pick up and answer the phone. We're talking about a small community. The judge is elected. There's no doubt in my mind that getting a warrant wouldn't be easy as hell in this circumstance.
What I will say is, again, everybody is speculating from the outside. What is most telling is the fact that the police have issued a statement that they feel it's an isolated incident and there's no danger to the community. That is very telling.
Maybe they think it's was a targeted thing.
That means that they know something. Yes, I think.
But that's what I'm saying.
Right.
When they come out and say this was an isolated incident, we don't believe it's a danger to the community. They know more than you think they do.
Yes.
If they thought it was a rando, they would tell you to lock your doors and be careful.
The victims and the perpetrator knew each other in some way, and they have some way of knowing that. That's the only reason why they would give that such a press release. I agree with you 100%, Loki.
But that's what I'm saying. So everyone's like, oh my God, the crime scene's mess. You don't know. You have no idea what they know. And if they are giving that statement to a college campus, you need to read between lines that they don't think it's just like random homicidal maniac for the most part. Okay? Obviously, they were not all stabbed to death in their sleep if people have defensive wounds. It takes a great deal of anatomical knowledge to stab somebody and then be dead instantly. People wake up. People fight. What I will also say is they are saying it is one weapon, in their opinion. Knives are notoriously problematic.
They tend to get stuck.
Well, not that.
Well, there is that.
They're slippery. So if I, who has studied some serology, have a weapon, it's going to have a mixture of, or even if I just take a whole blood stain, it's going to have multiple DNA profiles in it. And usually, your hand will slide on the blade. It could have the kill. It takes time. We cannot just put it in Mr. Mass Spec, like on NCIS, and it give me all 4 genetic profiles. It doesn't work that way. People are like, but the DNA, it doesn't happen instantly. It is not TV. I understand the frustration and anger. And could there be issues when it gets to trial where I'm on a stream with John screaming about them screwing up evidence a week later? Probably. There's usually a high likelihood. But at this point, yes, Cycle Boy, Mass Spec doesn't do DNA. If we'd like to do DNA, we're going to have to run gel electrophoresis.
No, nobody does gel electrophoresis anymore. It is literally an amplifier sequencer. I've used them before.
So have I. Mass Spec is for chemical analysis. I'm aware. I am going with the standard statement because
I know
everybody, because everybody's like, can't you use Mr. Mass Spec like on NCIS?
No.
But no, the answer is no.
That's why I said Mass Spec, because everybody likes to go back to NCIS and Abby calling it Mr. Mass Spec or whatever she named it. Everybody likes to go with.
Yeah, I miss Abby. She was fun.
Michael, you're talking about fuming prints, and you actually do it with cyanoacrylate in a hot plate. But this isn't TV.
Yeah, the technobabble tends to be a little more concise.
The amount of time it takes is not 60 minutes for the episode.
No.
So while this is incredibly distressing to everybody involved and to the family, people dogpiling onto things
Not helping.
is not going to help. Calling in 500 tips because you're a psychic,
Not helping.
not helpful. I had someone do that once. They were a psychic. We had to go chase down leads because psychics were calling in saying the body's in a wooded area and this place. No matter how much of a box of Fruit Loops you sound like, it has to be investigated.
And there's another couple of dozen, uh, another couple of dozen hours wasted by like 50 people searching an area in which there is absolutely nothing. Hold on. Yeah, it looks like John had to restart his thing here. There we go.
Yeah, I gotta go get into a fight with my internet provider.
Okay, I'll catch you later tonight if you need to go.
No, I'll hang around for a while.
Okay, well, some point
I'm
after
just
that.
running off my phone's Wi-Fi, so that's fine.
Well, tonight will be fun and have more law stuff. So if you want to go fight with them, it's fine.
Nah, that's good. I'll chill around for a little bit.
Okay.
Well, he chills here until the stream ends, and then he calls the ISP going. Rah!
Yeah, that'll be fun. Thanks, Spectrum.
Oh, Jade, I am so sorry. I'm
I
so sorry.
did them.
That's okay. We've got comp crap available in town, so yeah, that's gonna be fun.
My building's wired just for Spectrum, which is a pain in the ass, but whatever it is. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Better that than T-Mobile,
You're good.
if not by much.
You know, but what I'm saying is you're not going to have answers overnight. You need to give police some grace with this.
Of course.
Blowing this up and screaming police misconduct is not helping anybody. You don't want to charge or convict the wrong person.
No, that's pretty bad. And by the way, not for nothing, from the lawyer's perspective, we get, and I don't personally do prosecutions, but I have a number of friends from law school and that I've worked with who do. You get a pack of papers from the police with their evidentiary report, and sometimes they look at him and are like, "This is all you've got? Like, you think I'm gonna bring this in front of a jury? What the F? Like, you need to bring me more, otherwise I'm not bringing this in front of a grand jury for an indictment. It's just not going to happen." So doing the investigation in the first instance is huge because you also have to deal with the prosecutor, who is a gatekeeper to some extent, because their career is on the line if they try to run with the prosecution when they have half-baked evidence. So that is hugely important.
I can't tell you the number of people that have DM'd me and been like, why don't they have answers? Because it's not CSI, it's not getting solved in 60 minutes.
Right. It really, and that's kind of one of the frustrating aspects. And I actually have seen this, a number of my buddies, they'll ask during voir dire, how many people watch CSI or, watch Law and Order, whatever. And they try to get them off the jury because they think that this operates in a way that is great for TV, but it's not how the world actually operates. And they can be dangerous jurors because they expect things that reality just doesn't grant. You know, they want a perfect DNA profile of the blood on the weapon or whatever. And it's just not the way that investigations operate as a practical matter. So they try to get them off the juries all the time.
So, yes, it is horrendous. Yes, we all feel for the family. I feel for the family. When there's more information, like I will gladly cover it. I will gladly cover evidence. I will go through an indictment with John, whatever. But it's been 10 days. The other point I am going to make is a statement that is making me crazy in all of this. Absolutely making me crazy with this case. But there's, I'm trying to think of the better way to phrase it. We want answers. Why don't we have answers? Why can't this be done in a super short amount of time? All of that. Because you have rights. Your rights, while you might be an awful person, don't go away.
Correct.
I can't violate your rights just for the sake of a trial and to appease a family. You don't want to indict the wrong people just to appease family. We will follow it. We will cover it as it happens. Tom, not with an attitude like that, huh? Okay.
No, I mean, I think that you make a very good point. That is absolutely important and salient. It is, if we are going to start bending the rules and violating people's rights in order to appease genuine hurt and outrage, are we not then also committing crimes as well? And society's not designed to be built that way, or at least we have not tried to design our society to be built that way. Even if you are an awful human being who is guilty of heinous actions, you still are a human being. You still have rights until convicted by a jury of your peers.
And then you still have some of your rights.
I'm sorry?
And then you still have some of your rights.
Absolutely. The Eighth Amendment, right against cruel and unusual punishments. I mean, go ahead.
And just to go along with that, there are societies that are built that way. It just they just don't work very well. When you can start bending the rules to suit whatever bullshit you've got that you want to do, then you've got capriciousness and thereby lawlessness. The law doesn't mean anything anymore. That's not a good way to run the ship.
Well, and that's the whole idea of our society being built upon law and not upon men. It is the idea that there is a fair procedure for everything, including criminal offenses. It's not a matter of might makes right in our society, and we decided upon that. And that takes out some of the caprice. Not all of it, because it is still a system administered by human beings. But the idea that you are considered innocent until proven guilty by a jury of your peers is an extremely powerful concept in the history of humanity. And it still doesn't exist in vast swaths of this world. So, in that regard, yes, we are designed to be a society ruled by law, not by just the will of the powerful. And that really does make a difference.
So, like I said, it is awful. It is horrifying. And if I was the family, I would be rightly angry too. But you don't want to do this again. You don't want to miss things. You do it right the first time.
Yes.
It's been 10 days. And here's the other point I'm going to make. And this is going to sound incredibly dumb to a lot of you who know me through LawTube or John's fans, or just because the manner of death was ruled a homicide for all four does not mean a third party committed it. Homicide just means they died at the hands of another.
Okay, I'm not sure where this message and its follow-up came from, because I'm not seeing it, and I'm not seeing either of them in either chat. I don't know where these are coming from, but there's one, and here's the other.
Yeah, that's probably true as a metaphysical aspect. If people don't have answers to fill in their cognitive gaps, then they'll start making their own shit up. That's probably true.
Well,
I don't know if it's relevant or useful information. It's just kind of a truism.
But John, would you like to join me, since you're laughing at me on my statement of homicide does not mean a third party did it?
Sure,
just means
I would be happy to.
Because you know exactly what I'm referring to. It drives me crazy.
This is one that drives me absolutely fucking insane. And I apologize for the curse. Hey, you know what?
No. Cursing words were warned about at the top.
I warned.
It drives me absolutely insane because it is one of the dumbest arguments I see constantly, literally in every homicide case, every murder case, is you have the defense attorney talk to the medical examiner and ask them, homicide doesn't mean somebody actually killed somebody, does it? Or murdered somebody, does it? And the answer is no. It's always no. It's always been no. That has been the case literally since the beginning of forensic medicine. It is driving me insane. It is frustrating like you would not believe, because it's the dumbest question on earth that everybody knows the answer to. All homicide means is somebody died as a result of the actions of another human being. That's it. It has no legal relevance whatsoever, because that could be self-defense, that could be murder, that could be accidental, that could be any number of things. If a human being intervened in some way in a timeline of human history and it results in the death of another human being, that's homicide. It has no legal relevance whatsoever, but they always ask that stupid freaking question. And it drives me nuts.
I've gotten so many DMs on Twitter, but they're saying it was a homicide.
Actually, Michael, perfect example. If you kill yourself, that's technically a homicide.
Everyone's like, but they said it's a homicide. That means nobody. No, that just means it wasn't an accident. Like,
that means that there was a human intervention that led to the death of another human being, and it could still be an accident.
Yeah, just depending.
Again, you could accidentally back into somebody and they crack their skull and die. It's still a homicide, but it was a total accident.
Or natural causes. Okay, that doesn't mean they were old.
Yeah. It just that one drives me absolutely. It's a dumb question. It's an absolutely emotional question. It has no legal relevance, and I hate whenever any attorney asks anything approaching that question, because it's purely an emotional appeal. It has nothing to do with law or logic.
I'm just like, I've
that's
gotten
my
so many.
That's my rant for
a second. I've gotten so many questions. Like, they're saying it's a homicide. I'm aware.
Michael, homicide is not a statutory crime in most jurisdictions. Homicide does not appear in the criminal codes of, I think, almost all states. Homicide as a word does not appear in the criminal code because it doesn't have any mens rea attached to it whatsoever. Homicide is just what happens. I mean, hell, if I decided to get a mug and fill it with bleach and somebody came to visit me and decided to drink the bleach, that's still homicide. It's not murder. Actually, at that point, it's not even probably even involuntary manslaughter. It's probably nothing.
Remind me,
but it's still a homicide.
Remind me when I come down there for Gasparilla to not drink anything out of coffee mugs at your place.
I wouldn't actually do that. I don't even think I have bleach in this apartment. But in any event,
death by misadventure is what that be.
I'm just saying,
But in any event, no, a homicide is not a crime. Accidental causing the death of another person is usually involuntary manslaughter. That's where most jurisdictions would codify that sort of behavior.
However, if you drink the bleach, that's going to be on you because bleach is pretty obvious shit.
But in any event, whether it is self-defense or justifiable homicide, it's still homicide. Justifiable homicide is not illegal. Period. In every jurisdiction. So I hate that question. I hate the way that it's framed because people don't understand the difference. Homicide literally just means a human being acted in such a way that had a practical causal effect to the death of another human being. That's it. It has no legal value whatsoever.
I cannot. I've had COVID 3 times, and my sense of smell sucks now. So I'm not going to be drinking things out of coffee mugs when I go down for Gasparilla at this point now. So, okay.
Yes, Michael, I know that Florida has an entire chapter on homicide. I get that. But if you notice, if you read each of those sections, each of them has a mens rea attached to it. So homicide in and of itself means jack shit. It's homicide plus whatever the mens rea effect is. So I appreciate your point. That's fair. But don't fuck with me. I am actually a Florida attorney. Sorry, give me 2 seconds. I gotta.
Okay.
Time's up.
No, he's fine. He's screaming into the ether. Let him go.
Well, he said 2 seconds, so
It's fine. But I keep getting messages. Everyone's like, it was a homicide. That means no. That just means at the hands of another. That does not mean what you think it means. So,
your
well,
kid feels like that word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
okay. So I will cover this, and when we get to evidence and evidentiary things, I will gladly go through it, guys. But you have to give people grace, okay? We are all human, including the police detectives. So, it's not going to happen overnight, okay? I get why there's public outrage, but we need to dial it back. Okay? Okay, great talk. Next thing that Loki is just effing irritated with.
You wanna fuck with me? Here you go.
Okay, Kurt.
Oh Lord. No, I get pissed off when people challenge me about my jurisdictions that I'm actually licensed in.
Okay, here's a clarification.
I'm still calling you Kurt for that one.
Yeah, fair point.
Hold on.
I'm gonna go build a box fort.
You are not building a box fort right now. You build a box fort later. I'll kick your box fort the fuck over.
John? Seriously, John?
Yes.
We have another John that's looking for some clarification, I think.
Oh, come on. That's fun.
You can answer that while I pull the other thing up.
Homicide and death by something other than natural means. No. No, it does not. I mean, unless natural means literally anything other than human intervention, then sure, that would actually work as a definition.
Okay.
Yeah, an Apple store. What's he got to... Damn.
Hold on, I gotta pull things back up. Okay. Okay, don't, Croco. Don't put things up right now.
Yeah.
Don't. Right now, I've got this.
I'll tag it.
I've got this. So, don't get involved in this right now.
Okay, I'll leave it alone. It's all good.
I hate Apple products. I hate Glocks. I'm not going to drive through a Glock store. This did not work well for Daryl Brooks. Sir, I don't think you thought, like, see again, like, I'm sorry. It's not going to go any better for you, you dipshit. Okay? Why you drove through a goddamn Apple store? Go buy a Samsung or an Android phone. If you don't like Apple phones, don't drive through an Apple store. This didn't work out with the first trial. It's not going to work for you. Kev, I'll catch you after, okay? Kev, send me a DM. Um, you know, obviously, the car didn't win.
Yeah, no.
But don't drive through fucking stores. There is nothing. There is absolutely nothing. Hey, Kev. Or whoever, do me a favor and just DM me. This didn't work for Daryl Brooks. It's not going to work for you. Don't fucking drive through parades or stores.
Generally speaking, that's a good piece of advice.
Okay? Stop using your vehicle as a weapon, which is what it is.
Yep,
And
2-ton battering ram.
Okay? This is not how we handle things. You are not my kindergartner. Stop driving through fucking parades and stores.
Probably a good piece of advice.
If you cannot handle the Christmas crowd frustration, shop on Amazon.
Yeah.
Enough.
Did I read that right? 1 dead and 20 injured?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Oh, Lord.
And quite a few have limb-threatening injuries and have a very high likelihood of not surviving their injuries.
Oh, my God.
Don't drive through shit.
What was the date on that? I missed the
It just
date
happened like last week. Not even
God.
a couple days ago. Hold on. The
What was
man's
the,
been
where
around.
was this?
Hold on.
No, I'm sorry. It's my fault. I wasn't paying attention when you had the date line up.
That's not what I'm doing.
Okay. I got it.
It wasn't yesterday. I think it was the day before.
Yeah, I think it might have been yesterday. Oh, my God.
Stop it. Stop it. This is stupid. Stop it.
Am I not allowed to read?
No, I'm not talking to you.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking to people that think the way to fucking handle things is to drive goddamn cars through buildings where people inside are Christmas shopping or at a parade.
I would generally agree that that's not an appropriate way to handle your anger.
Fucking stop. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. What in God's name possessed your stupid ass to drive through an Apple store?
Well, obviously, it's somebody from New Jersey, so that answers a few questions.
Yes, some old dude, I understand that. But just stop. Everyone's like, oh, well, if they hadn't televised Daryl Brooks. No, stupid's
No,
going to
shut up
stupid.
about that.
Stupid is going to stupid. But the people that are sitting here online saying, look, all the publicity that was given to the Daryl Brooks parade thing is why someone went and did that. No, people are fucking stupid. It has
We're
nothing to do
insane.
with Daryl Brooks. That man's a special breed of stupid.
And insane.
He's not
He's
insane.
Daryl Brooks is a straight up sociopath. Nobody can convince me otherwise.
Does that not make him theoretically insane?
No, it does not.
Not legally.
Well, I'm not
Sociopathy.
talking about legally. I'm talking about
No,
it
insanity.
colloquially.
No,
Yeah, you have to be very careful with that. Insanity literally means that you perceive things fundamentally differently from how they actually exist. It has nothing to do with your motivation
morals.
structure.
Yeah, or your moral compass.
Yeah, those are fundamentally different issues.
Okay.
People are going to do what people are going to do. Televising Daryl Brooks is not why this happened.
I would certainly hope not, because we were making fun of him the entire time because of how stupid he was and what a freaking lunatic he was.
Yes, well, I got several hate comments involving you, me, Mike, and several of the others that everybody giving all, hi Nigel, everybody giving all this attention to him gave people like this a platform. No, it didn't. Stop. He's a grown
No, what we
ass
were giving a
man.
platform. What we were giving a platform to was one, a fantastic judge, an excellent prosecution team, and pointing out the stupidity of self-representation when you don't have 3 brain cells to rub together to create enough to spark a fire. That's what we were doing.
Right, but I got a whole bunch of hate mail, after that happened.
Don't worry about that. I don't care about it.
No, I don't care about the hate mail. It doesn't. Do I look pressed?
No.
Right.
By the way, I don't actually. It's kind of funny because I don't get any hate mail.
No?
No, I really don't, which is kind of weird. But I have a good group of people that watch my stuff, and the people who don't. I don't think I've gotten a negative comment. I think I'm at like 98.5% on my like to dislike ratio.
Oh, mine's up there too. But
Like,
you don't have an Instagram presence.
No, I don't, because I don't do social media. I use Twitter literally just to advertise my streams, and that's it.
Well, the majority of it has come on Instagram. I also tend to get hate mail because I'm female, which means I know nothing.
Shocking.
I'm stupid. I know nothing.
Well, that seems like an easy thing to throw in the waste bin.
Oh, I don't care.
No, I know.
But I generally don't, but I am going to make a point because it irritates me that people go, you gave them a platform. No. They're an idiot. They're going to do what they want to do. They're fucking stupid. Yep. Stop trying. In the words of Clueless, stop trying to make fetch happen, okay?
Well said. John Trish, I get hate messages. I haven't seen them.
I get hate mail because I didn't find the thing all the way in the corner of a zone. It's just what? Well, you had to go. You should have gone to get this thing over here. Like, what?
John, have you looked at your your automatically hidden comments?
No.
I'll show you it after. You'll get a good laugh. But
that's fair.
It has nothing to do with LawTube or people televising people. People suck. Okay?
Yeah.
So stop coming after things saying, because you gave that a platform, they did this. No. They're a fucking lunatic. That is it. That is all.
Well, and that's always
Stop.
going to be the case. Is there are going to be people that, for whatever reason, can't function in society effectively, and they're going to behave the way that they're going to behave, and there's nothing that's going to encourage or discourage them from operating in those antisocial ways. That's just the reality of society. It's humanity to some extent. It just happens. And it's awful. And I wish that they wouldn't. But there's nothing that's going to short circuit them from doing what they're going to do. And by the way, John Trish, I did not show my diploma. I showed my license from the Supreme Court of Florida.
Jr.
So
Kurt Jr.
Screw off.
Kurt Jr.
Loki, leave me alone on that one.
What if she doesn't want to?
I already tried to take it back. Just give me a little bit of grace.
What if she doesn't want to?
Well, I can't stop her.
No,
all I can do is request.
No, I'm just teasing him. He knows I love him.
I know. I'm good. But, I'm not. I don't get that butt hurt. It's okay.
No, I know. I'm just saying. I just had a laugh when you did it.
I just find it funny that somebody's like, "Oh, you showed your diploma." No, I have that one. I have both of them here as well. But no, that's not what I showed. So Good job reading. Your comprehension test was an absolute success.
But yeah. So
actually, you had it at a bad angle under that glass. It was we could see that it existed, but not necessarily what was on it.
Fair enough.
Or at least I was having problems with it.
People bringing things to light does not make them happen more.
Correct.
So stop.
Wholeheartedly. I think that it's important that we bring it to light, particularly because when they fail so dismally, maybe
public shaming.
Yeah, maybe that might actually get somebody to understand that this sort of behavior is not going to be tolerated and will not work out well for you in the long run. Hey, that's the best that we can do. And by the way, not for nothing, it is a fundamental aspect of our society that these sorts of trials are held publicly, because that is also a check and balance upon the government. Not only for us to see whether the government's actually serving the people well, which in the Brooks case, I thought that they did a fantastic job, but also seeing what happens to you when you are on the wrong side of the law, which I also think the Brooks case is a great example of. And I think that that is genuinely a public service, that the more people that see how the justice system operates.
Hey, hold it down for a minute, guys.
Yeah, go ahead. But yeah, I genuinely believe that that view of the justice system genuinely does a great deal of civic benefit to our society. So you can understand what you can expect when you transgress, and the people can see what their public officials do on their behalf to maintain peace, safety, and order. So I don't know. Crocker Squirrel, you have a thought on that?
No, I think you pretty much got it. I don't have any. I don't have anything really to add at this point. If I think of something, I'll let you know though.
You've never done improv, have you? Because you're supposed to yes end. You're not supposed to just like cut off a commentary. We're trying to vamp and fill time, man. I'm gonna need a little bit of help.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Yeah, the whole idea of Kendra is correct here. The whole idea of copycat crimes is just, yeah, what's up with that?
No, that's
the copycat crimes go all the way back to right after Og smacked Bog over a head because he got too close to his woman. I was just.
No, you know what? You're not wrong. No, so the whole idea of copycat crimes, I think, is to some extent a media invention.
Well, yeah, that would just be the way it is. But no, people will hear about a crime committed in X way, and sometimes they'll grab that, or in other cases they'll grab a little of this and a little of that, and some of this over here. And I don't know how one would copy a cat, except of course to breed it with itself, and that's probably not a good idea.
Well, no. So my point when I say that I think that copycat crimes are really kind of a media invention, it's because I think that it really started. There are only so many ways that you can kill a person. Let's be honest. I mean, you can
there's nothing new under the sun.
You can get as creative as you'd like, but there are only so many ways. And so I think that it sells more newspapers when you find crimes committed in similar ways. And you say that it's a copycat killer, so you can reference back to the original one, which sold a bunch of papers. And then you say, oh, this is just like that killer. And so you sell a bunch more papers using the name of the one that already got popular.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's also victimology.
Yeah, I think that a lot of that goes back to the old kind of newspaper hawking days, and it just has continued forth ever since because it's a convenient way to gain attention to a story.
Get clicks.
Exactly.
Because everybody in the sound of my voice has heard of clickbait and has probably bitten down on them sometimes.
And clickbaits existed long before the internet. I mean, that's literally what newspaper hawkers were all about.
Yay, Night of Nia's here.
Hey, Night. All right, Loki, welcome back.
Hold on.
You good?
Yeah. Fucking Taco Bell.
Oh. Ow.
Fucking Taco Bell.
What happened?
What did Taco Bell do to you?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Where on the doll did they touch you?
Fucking Taco Bell. You've got to be kidding me.
Something else happened at that Taco Bell?
It was the ADA over the Taco Bell thing.
Ah, okay.
John, what you missed is I was on the phone with a group of people, and then I had to leave because someone needed my assistance. And my assistance involved a case where a gentleman was written up for being late to work, and then they took that as their cue to chase another grown-ass adult through the Taco Bell kitchen, the dining room, into the bank across the street and murder them.
Oh.
And it was the manager that did the murder, not the employee. The employee was the one that was found dead on the floor.
I covered it the other night. Fucking Taco Bell.
All right.
You murdered somebody over fucking a write-up at Taco Bell.
I do not know how to respond to that right now.
Well, there's a reason I call it toxic hell. I'm sorry, that was too soon? Probably.
Where was this?
Hold on, John. I'm going to help you out.
Yes, that is terrifying.
That is not terrifying. The remainder of the day is fucking terrifying. Me having to take off my Uggs and change out of leggings is fucking terrifying.
Well, Pennsylvania. So
just
obviously
watch the video. See if you can spot people you know.
I wouldn't know anyone. I don't know anyone from Pennsylvania.
Yes, you would.
What do you mean, yes, I would?
You will. Just look carefully.
Oh, dear God.
Yes. And John gets the 132. Woohoo.
All right, I'm gonna watch it. You guys,
you don't have to watch it. I don't know if that's the right video clip to see me.
There is one day. I saw you at a couple of them there.
Yeah, I've been plenty of places with it. Fucking Taco Bell. Like, I can't.
I don't know anything about Annapolis. Never mind.
Fucking Taco Bell. Like, I can't. I can't with people. Nothing is, like, getting written up does not justify murder. Stop. It's a fucking write-up at Taco Bell. Michael, I'll catch you later. I am doing the late one. It's already up. Rocco, that keyboard and I are going to fight.
Okay, I watched it. Who was I supposed to recognize? I mean, it's obviously a disaster. I mean, like, you think about it on a practical level. Oh, shit. Okay. All right. That did not show in what you sent me. All right. I'll take 90's question. I'd actually be interested to hear your answer on that.
Which one?
Which handgun?
I started one.
Knight of Knees?
Yeah.
It depends. It depends on your size and what you can do, and your dexterity and your weight and how much strength you have. But my Ruger, I generally shoot one-handed. It's a Ruger P91. I love it. They don't make it anymore, but you can get them used. My Smith & Wesson M&P is, you just find a slightly bigger gun, which in a lot of ways sounds counterproductive, gun the less recoil you have. So if you pick a slightly heavier firearm, it will be easier for you to control the recoil just one-handed.
Can I
But
actually ask you a question?
it's a lot of practice with recoil. We have to qualify one-handed with both hands every year. I teach all the people I teach how to shoot one-handed. You're very rarely going to have two. And generally, if I'm out shooting, I have a mag light in this hand, my pistol here, because you use this as your light, and you use this to brace. So you want a slightly heavier one. Night of Knee, I will catch. I'll talk to you in greater detail on Twitter about it. But a slightly heavier one is your better option because of the recoil.
So, Loki, I want to ask you because I'm thinking about getting my CCW in Florida, and people are recommending the Walther PPK. Do you have any
No,
thoughts on it? No.
no.
Okay. What would you recommend as just
And
a
it won't
standard
fit.
defense handgun?
And by the way, the Walther PPK won't fit your hand well.
Okay.
Yeah, no, those are kind of small.
The problem is, I know how tall you, like I know how tall you are, obviously, and most people don't have the same. Hold on. No, my webcam is autofocusing for some reason on I don't even know what. For you, what the? Hold on. This is annoying me. Seriously?
Yeah, it's not focusing that great.
Because it picked up my rings before when I held my hand up. Whatever. It'll come back, I'm sure. Yeah, Smith & Wesson 500 is huge. So you'll have issues with it biting your hand because I know how big your hands are compared to the Walther PPK. For you personally, I would say either a SIG 220 Smith & Wesson M&P full size with the 5-inch barrel like I have on my. You watch my one video about it. They're both easily concealable on your frame. They both have easy recoil with your frame.
Okay.
They're
Cool.
both user friendly. I have one of each of the Field Strip and Clean on mine on the channel. But my bigger recommendation would be go to a gun range that allows you to rent,
Mm-hmm.
and you can. Jesus Christ!
Just sort of test out a couple models and see what makes sense.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to watch because you'll ones that land too high up on your palm because of how big your hands are, they bite.
Gotcha. All right, that makes
The
sense.
the slide will bite, and it's a lot harder to control. But yes, the Sig 220, the S&P, the M&P shield, like the 4-inch. You know how I feel about Glock. What's the other one? Yeah, Sig 220s are good for first time CCW. The M&P, the Ruger's really good. Any 19 like any of the 1911 knockoffs you can find decently, but they're a little more unwieldy and they can be a little harder to tear down. I honestly would go with the Smith & Wesson or the SIG. The SIG is a regular center fire. The Smith & Wesson is a striker fire.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Well, I appreciate the advice. I will absolutely take that into account.
Or I mean, like you can come visit and shoot go through all of mine. I don't care. Decide what you want.
That would be a lot of fun. Maybe we should set
Although
that up.
part of me was going to be a dick and say Deagle, but
Nah, I think Deal's probably more flashy than it's functional.
no, it is not.
Ah,
Believe
well.
me, they're functional.
Leave my Deagle alone. I'm not a huge Taurus fan, and you end up with more misfires with the Taurus one. I can tell you, like I have that cheap my Ruger. I've put almost 10,000 rounds through it. I think I've had 5 or 6 issues that I can think of in its entire life where I had to clear a jam.
That's pretty good.
That's insanely good.
That's a well-designed machine. That's you say 10,000 rounds in 5, so that's a 0.5% misfire, or malfunction.
Yeah, I
That's
have
awesome.
yeah, if you can find a Ruger P89, a Ruger P91, mine's a P91. You can find them used for a couple $100, and they are workhorses, and they are like great.
Cool.
I'll see if I can find you one and send you a link. Cycle Boy, I mean, I don't need a gold-plated jackhammer. I just clock someone with a deagle. But it has nothing to do, and it is easy to carry. I can seal carry my deagle all the time. All the time. And
That's one of the weird things when it comes to Florida is concealed carry is very easy to obtain, but open carry is basically illegal. It's just a very weird legal structure that we have down here.
it is easy to conceal. You just have to know how to do it. Night of Knee, I'm going to disagree with you. I am not a fan of 9mm.
No, not enough stopping.
And we're doing a whole discussion on the rounds, the ballistics, and the physics of the different calibers. I only carry my all of my carry pieces are 40, 45, 44 mag, 50 AE. I do have 138, which is a revolver, but that's my ankle gun. Cycle Boy, if you are appendix carrying a deagle, you're just trying to get into a dick measuring contest and show people that like you have something there that you don't. Okay, don't stick it down the front of your pants.
Well played.
I was, don't do that. Because the last thing you want is to wind up having to reach for it and grab the trigger at the wrong moment.
When I was when I was in law school, I took a course on legal drafting, and one of them was drafting an indictment. And so they gave us the information when Plaxico Burress shot himself.
Plexiglass. Yeah, you and I were talking about it.
And so they gave us the information. We had to draft the indictment on that, and that was a very fun exercise. Oh God, yeah. So to anybody who doesn't know, Plaxico Burress, football superstar, went into a New York nightclub with a gun in his waistband and decided to shoot his junk off.
Okay, we're going to go for the joke now.
Yeah, that was a fun exercise writing that indictment.
Did you make sure to mention blowjobs in a park?
No, that was not particularly relevant to the actual indictment and probably would have been objected to by the defense.
I don't care. It's still funny.
Well, we're talking about a
I'll say it's not
Is the
funny.
defense even involved?
Yes, it's involved. Ask John.
Say that again?
I said we're talking about an indictment here. Would there even be a defense attorney in the neighborhood?
No, there wouldn't. It's not an adversarial procedure. But once the indictment gets passed down, that goes to the defense attorney. And if I pulled out shit that is not appropriate, that could get the indictment tossed.
That's no fun.
Yeah, Night of Knee, I'm just not a huge Walther PPK or PPQ person, especially if you're firing it one-handed. Go with one of the ones I mean, like, we can go through plenty of them, but you know.
Here's one from Patty.
I told the story about the police officer that I had to go deal with that shot himself in the junk. Like, please stop appendix carrying.
Yeah.
It's going to be embarrassing for you.
Don't ever put a weapon into basketball shorts. That's the one thing I am going to say. It doesn't tend to end
If
well.
we are discussing plexiglass, that is literally the least of that man's worries.
Oh,
I imagine his potential future progeny or lack thereof might have a different opinion on the subject.
I'm thinking at that point, lack thereof.
No, he reproduced several times.
If he keeps
But-
appendix carrying, there won't be any more.
I mean, he can
Did
be.
we get a Darwin
mechanic-
Award for the guy?
No, Darwin, you can't have procreated.
Yeah, you have to be childless first.
I thought it was just that you can't procreate again.
Nope.
Yeah, Night of Knee, I'm just not. Everybody has their favorite gun, but given your situation, I don't think it is a good one. But knowing John and how big, like, just by the size of your hands, the other ones are better options.
No, and I appreciate that. I wrote them down.
Yeah, no, a 40 caliber, 45 for you. 40 is going to be a little bit cheaper.
No, the SIG 22 I think makes a lot of sense. That was
The
also on my
220?
radar. Huh?
The SIG 220.
Yeah, the 220. So that was one of the ones I had a handful on my list.
Yeah, I really like my Smith & Wesson M&P also.
That's fair.
It's just you. The only reason I would tell you to shy away from the Smith & Wesson is there's no external safety there is on the SIG.
Okay. And like I said, it literally is just going to be, in the nightstand, kind of just a defense weapon. But I want to do that.
If you're going to conceal carry it, that's a different question. For home defense, I recommend a shotgun.
Yeah, there's that too. Fair point.
If it's
Shotguns
just
are
going to
good.
be for home defense, I mean, I have a Benelli on the sitting here next to me.
Well, the only reason why I would not carry regularly is frequently enough I'll, go to a bar and get a drink or two, and I wouldn't want to have a weapon on me if I had any alcohol in my system.
You actually are prohibited from it in most places.
I am aware of that.
I had someone argue that with me the other day.
No, there's nothing to argue about that.
Yeah, you can get the M&P with the external thumb safety, but it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
That's
basically my idea, is just having something at home, that worst case scenario. I don't think it's ever going to be an issue, but it would be nice to have.
Yeah,
Better
Psycho
to, have,
Boy.
better to have the tool and not need it than to need it and
Yeah,
not have it.
yes, Psycho Boy, we can. My other recommendation is, and this one some people find controversial, do not rail mount a light.
Why would you ever do that?
Most they can see they're shooting. The light attaches to the rail. A lot of people do it. But if you
That
rail
doesn't.
mount a light, all you're doing is showing me where to shoot.
Right, you're literally putting a target on your back. It's like if you were in World War One and you lit a cigarette in the trenches. You're just a glowing target.
People do it all the time because they can see what they're shooting at. For
That
target
seems really
identification.
dumb.
There's a lot of things people do that are really dumb.
All right.
You're a lawyer, you know that.
Yeah, I know, but I try not to replicate the mistakes of my clients. It's a great learning tool.
Yeah. But I'm always like, can we not do that, guys? Like we don't need to do that.
Another suggestion for you, John, if you're concerned about getting your face taken off, don't smoke outside the dark. Because you can light up your face well enough for somebody with a long range weapon to take you out at distances longer than a mile.
Well, Crockett Squirrel, fortunately, I don't think that I have a lot of snipers on Davis Island in Tampa, Florida.
You never know.
That's a fair point. That's why I smoke inside.
Good man.
And right across from me is another building, so it's not like anybody can get an angle.
That's what you think.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, believe me, if you a sniper dedicated enough can get an angle on you. Trust me.
Well, if I have a sniper dedicated enough to get an angle on me, then I really fucked up somewhere in life.
I would agree with that too.
So I don't think I've gotten to that point just yet.
No, that's not stupid at all. And that's what that's generally what my content is about. And I have tons of videos on it. And no, that is not stupid.
Absolutely not. Man, I shoot shotguns basically once a year. That's my extent of, I go occasionally to the handgun range and rent a gun every now and again, but it's good to know how these mechanisms work. They're just tools and they serve a purpose. And it's good for everybody to know that. And I think Loki would agree with me on that.
Yeah. You know what, Maeve? I'm streaming in later tonight. We will cover this tonight as one of like the gun things because this is me being pissed. We will cover this tonight in our stream. We'll talk about what's great for carry and why.
And I'll be back for that if you'll have me.
I will. But hold on, I was just trying to catch the other thing. I saw something. Where'd it go?
Otherwise, I might actually do.
You're good.
Maybe in like 2 hours or so, I might do one more educational stream before I kind of sign off for the Thanksgiving break.
Yeah, I'm gonna do well, like I said, I'll be there tonight. You still You still owe me the Pennsylvania Supreme Court case.
Which one was that?
You're
not talking about Mims.
We'll talk after. I'll text you.
All right.
You owe me that case, and I want to do it.
All right. Maybe I'll just read it. If you send it to me after we're done here, maybe I'll just do the research in like 30 minutes and we'll run it.
No, we can run it different because it's not a 30. It's a Supreme Court brief. You'll want to read.
All right.
Trust me. There's a lot of really interesting and stupid arguments in it. No, you're good, Native Knee. You guys can always derail me with gun questions. I'm just really quickly scrolling through some of the questions.
Knight, I've been derailing her the entire stream, so.
It's all good. Have I yelled at you yet?
No, you have not.
When you get yelled at, you'll know. Good. Okay. So, we're going to come back to a bunch of this. I need to get dinner started. We will discuss affordable weapons and ammunition tonight. We'll discuss best guns for newbies tonight. We will discuss caliber, and we will discuss right tool, right job. The stream is already posted. Do the likey, the subscribe, the share. Go subscribe to John's channel, even though he's like the breakout rock star of the world and much bigger than me and knows all the legal thingies. But I'd like, subscribe, share, come have fun. We will do hardcore gun talk tonight. Lots and lots of hardcore gun talk. Make sure you check out everybody's links. They're over there. John, you want to plug yourself real quick?
Sure. So yeah, please check out my YouTube channel. I think what I'm gonna do, it is 5:03 on the East Coast. I think at about 6:30, I'm gonna be doing another educational video. This is going to be Brady v. Maryland and the Brady violation, which a lot of people have seen a bunch about in different cases over the course of the last month or so. So we're going to go exactly to why the state has to turn over evidence that is exculpatory. And so I'm going to be doing that at probably 6:30 on the East Coast. I'll send out a link and all of that on Twitter. You can check me on Twitter at JRobinLaw. And I hope to see folks there.
Okay. I'm going to sign off on this current annoying ranting over people stupid for right now. We're going to return to our normal comment of lots of gun talk tonight. The stream's already posted. I will see you guys for firearms tonight. I love you all. Stay safe and have a great day.